Hey, what's up? What's up, everybody? It's Yaga here on the No Nonsense live stream. It's been a few weeks. It's been a few weeks since my last thing. Let's make sure we're up and running here. Yeah, there we go. Done. All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome. I was at a couple week hiatus, so I apologize for getting back to this, but hey, life happens, right? So today, the title of this stream is called Death, a Reality Check. In recent news, obviously, we all know by now that Kobe Bryant died in a tragic helicopter accident a couple days ago, along with his daughter and several others. I talked about this on my podcast, but death is a funny way to make you grateful, isn't it? And sometimes it takes those wake up calls or a death to make things it's sad but true that sometimes tragedy is what we need to, I don't know, embrace the people around you, not to take stuff for granted, be grateful, and all that stuff. And people are like, "Oh, I can't believe it happened." I go, see, I have a different take on this. I've accepted my own mortality, meaning I know I'm going to die, so I don't care about the things the society deems that I should care about anymore. I care about the things in life that are important to me: family, close friends. I value relationships, time with other people, stuff that brings me joy, shit like that. Calm, peaceful mind, serenity, tranquility. All these things are important to me today. So I do a lot of work to maintain those things. I don't care about status, prestige. Do people approve of what I say or not? I say a lot of crazy shit, but everything I talk about is just from an honest perspective and is my point of view. So the Kobe Bryant thing is interesting because, 41, dead, right? Everybody's talking about it, millions of people, because he's a very famous guy, right? And so people know him. And then I was reading not long ago, a couple weeks ago, I finished Marcus Aurelius Meditations. And he talks about, nobody's really going to know who you are, which is, kind of bold from Marcus's standpoint because everybody knows who Marcus Aurelius is, coming from a man who ruled the known world at the time. But yeah, people will forget you. I'm like, yeah, apparently nobody forgot who you are because your meditations book is highly regarded as being some of the best philosophy known to modern mankind and has been for a couple thousand years. So with that being said, you're not forgotten, sir. And I think the point of that is that there are only a handful of people with their ideas and dedication that can change the world by words, examples, things like that. It's like the people I follow, like the books I read today by like Alan Watts, Aldous Huxley. These guys are long dead and are more popular today because of the internet and YouTube, and their lectures and information is getting around and people are hearing it for the first time. It's like discovering a band, that you never heard of. They've been out for fucking decades, but it's the first time ever hearing the song. And you're like, this is amazing. Doesn't everybody like Led Zeppelin? And you realize it's just the first time you're discovering this information. It was always there, but this is the first time you've become aware of it. So now you're very excited. It's new information. It's a new way to look at things. And when it comes to death, unfortunately, death is a wake-up call for most people, especially if whether it's a tragedy of a known athlete, celebrity, or if it's somebody in your personal life. Those deaths make people put life into perspective, meaning you don't have as much time as you think. You hope that, you'll get to something one day and that maybe, you'll live a nice, long, fulfilling life, 80, 90, 100 years old, right? But that's not the case. The case is that death comes for all of us at one point or another, whether you're super rich and famous and everybody knows your name or you don't, nobody knows who you are, and you die in a gutter on a street. Death comes for everybody. So one thing that you can honestly say that human beings have one thing in common, and that's death. We share that. It's going to happen to all of us, no matter how well you are at keeping your room clean, how on time you are paying your taxes, how much money you stuffed away in your 401k. None of that fucking matters because you're going to die. See, I have this is something where when I was a kid, I used to be terrified of, right? I was so scared. I was scared of getting burnt or just injured because, you don't want to feel pain. And pain you could feel, but death is, forever, allegedly. And you only die once, right? So there's that fear of death because what is the fear? It's the fear of the unknown. And depending on your belief system, some people believe you die, get reincarnated, you become back, you come back as part of the earth, a tree, something like that. Some people think the eternal now is just now, which is always the current now. It is always eternal now. Right now is eternity. And people come and go in life cycles. Or there's the, Christian belief of heaven and earth, hell. And if you die and you're a good boy, you get to go to heaven. If you're a bad boy, you get to go to hell. And all these things, and that fear of the unknown keeps people believing either ludicrous ideas or either behaving in a way in their life that is a derivative of fear. Like if you're a Christian belief, a lot of people believe they have to follow certain guidelines and rules to get in heaven, which I understand. But if you step back in like a honest perspective, there's certain choices in your life that you don't want to make anyway, because for your own life, the consequences that fall upon them are, it's not worth it. It's like the things, that like, if I do this, there's a risk. And for me, when death comes in a life and something's taken away, like here Kobe Bryant, again, I didn't even really know what he looked like. I'm not a follower of sports, but I understand and I equate it to like the same thing as like when Robin Williams died. When Robin Williams died or killed himself or whatever, someone killed him. I don't think he killed himself, but maybe, who knows? I wasn't in his mind, so I can't really say for sure. But Robin Williams to me was I loved his inspiration, even though it was driven by hard doses of cocaine and alcoholism. His comedy and his ability to be funny on the spot was a gift. And not everybody has that gift. And he did. He's like, the little quote that he's always said that now is popular and you can buy posters of it is, you're only given a little spark of madness and you mustn't lose it. He's right. Because that little bit of madness, I think, is really what keeps us sane. The ability to laugh, joke, not take yourself so seriously. And unfortunately, when a death happens in your life, or on this case, a grand scale like Kobe Bryant, then all of a sudden everybody cares. All of a sudden we should be nicer to everybody. All of a sudden, excuse me, we should, have compassion. And, I feel for his family. Oh, God, excuse me. I feel for his family and everything like that. Because that's, because the family is, and the people closest to him are the ones who suffer the most, the people who knew him and his life, his energy essence interacted with people on a personal level. I only know him in passing as a person in fate, like, who played basketball, but I don't know him in a personal sense. He has no impact on me personally. But I understand the impact and influence he has on other people. So that connection with a person who can do that with others is profound and very powerful stuff. Robin Williams for me. So, and the thing about Robin Williams is he suffered from a lot of, alcoholism, drug addiction, according anxiety, all that shit, that everybody allegedly, suffers from today, that we have such a big problem with in this world, even though we have an abundance of everything. And yet it's the best time to ever be alive. But yet people are the most discontent ever. Death has a way of making people put life into perspective. It really does. And, you don't know, folks, when you're going to die. And I think that's the scariest thing that most people, there's that old, like, what if you knew the date? What if you knew the day you were going to die? Would you do anything different? And, well, let's be honest. It's a stupid question because, one, you don't know. And even if you were to say hypothetically, what would you do if you knew the date? You don't know what you would do. You think you know what you would do. Like, oh, that man just fucking go crazy, blow, and women, and who knows? Or you just wouldn't do anything. For me, I'd probably just I would spend time with the individuals in my life that have influenced me, mentored me, and or have been a part of my life in ways that I just enjoyed their company. And I would sit down with them if I knew what I was going to die, just interact with them as much as I could and enjoy that because that's all there is. It's not this grand scale idea thing that you get to in life that as soon as you get there, all of a sudden, boom, everything's going to be great. No. And because you never know, you know. Uh, Kobe Bryant, he was a family man. He had kids, so good for him. He lived the dream. He got to live his dream, you know. And when you get to live your dream at the utmost peak, which whatever dream that is for you, which I think today is having a family with kids, is like the ultimate thing. Like there's nothing better. And I used to think there was something better than that, like just getting married and having a family. Like, oh, I didn't want the typical married life that I saw when I was growing up, was what I'm trying to say. Like my parents and people around me, I was like, oh, I don't want to be this guy who's just a shell of his former self. That's what I feared. And I'm not, but at this, just because I'm being honest with myself about things I don't want, not the things I do want, or at least I thought I wanted. But when it comes to death, it can alter things in let's say if like the family members are forever altered now. I remember there were two deaths in my life. The first one that I can remember, I was very young. I was like 6 or 7, and my third cousin, her name was Bonnie, was killed head on in a car crash by a semi. And I'd only seen her and met her and actually interacted with her once, maybe twice in my life. I remember the first time I ever met her, she had come over to my parents' house, and when I was a kid, you could walk a couple blocks and down this hill, there was a little strip mall, and in that strip mall, there was this ice cream store called Bandy's, and we used to go down there when we were kids. And I remember walking down there. It was like me, my older sister, my cousin Carrie, my cousin Bonnie. We all walked down there, and I was, like I said, 6. I was a little guy, and I like fell on the sidewalk and scraped the shit out of my knee. And Bonnie was very kind to me. She put like a band-aid on my knee, took care of me because she was older. She was like 16 at the time, 16, 17, something like that. So again, a teenager. I'm a young kid, so I remember being very kind to me. And then shortly after that interaction, she was killed in a car crash like that, head on by a semi, dead instantly. And that was one of the first funerals I remember going to as a kid, if not the first funeral of somebody in the family. Yeah, because I was like 7 or 6. I was very young, and I had no idea what was going on. I tried. My parents, got a phone call. I remember. See, it's weird how I can remember things in life, right? This person, I can't remember certain things, but I remember my parents getting a call that night from my aunt, uh, and letting them know that Bonnie was killed. And my mom was just like, Bonnie, at that time, my mom explained it to me as Bonnie went to heaven. And I was like, what does that mean? We were 6, 7 years old. It wasn't sinking in the concept of what had happened until later down the road. But the point I'm trying to make is the impact that my cousin had on my life, though the time in my life was very short. I'll never forget that day of going to Bandy's, scraping my knee, her helping me, and then hearing the news about her death and that funeral. It's in here like forever. And there's been people in my life, especially in the last 5 years, where I really didn't know them and they've passed, but I went to their memorials or funerals, and because they had shared or mentored me in a way that taught me something that I needed to know or learn something or guided me in a direction that I needed to know, a wake up call, if you will. And for that reason, those people had a deeper impact on my life than any celebrity or any of that because it was directly affecting me, and I knew these people and they knew me. And I think when you break it down to your own world, you truly can understand what others are going through and feel compassion and not empathy, because you'll never know somebody else's pain. You just can't. You know your own pain and the things that whatever have caused you distress, you'll know that. But to truly know another person's pain, you can't that exact way. You have a good idea, but how we feel it is completely up to us. You can have knowledge of the pain, but you can't understand it. Knowledge and understanding are two different things. But there's been I went to a memorial for another friend of mine back at the beginning of October. He died in the end of September, and beginning of October, a friend of mine who was struggling with a lot of stuff, and alcoholism, things like that, and he didn't make it. And that's what happens sometimes. Sometimes you do this stuff to yourself. Sometimes it's just a freak accident like Kobe Bryant. You don't know, but one way or another, death will come for you. And I think we like to control it, right? That's why we're such in the Western world. We're health nuts. Gotta eat the right amount of chicken and have a cup of beans and work out and just you focus your whole life on maintaining this discipline of healthy living, but you're not even living because that's not healthy. But what do I know? It worked out for some people, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's like an exception to the rule, but for the rest of us, it doesn't work that way. Oh, God, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Excuse me. But impacts of deaths and families and stuff like that have a serious ripple effect on life. Another death that was probably the most impactful death in my early life that really hit home as far as changing the dynamic of an entire family was the death of my grandmother on my mom's side. On my mom's side, there's a big family. I have a lot of aunts, uncles, cousins, and stuff. My mom's got 5 brothers and sisters. So there's a huge family, and everybody's got 2 kids, maybe 3. And so I got a lot of cousins. And when I was a kid, we're all very similar in age. We're all within like 10 years of each other, right? So it was just a bunch of little kids growing up. You got 8, 9 kids all playing together. All the adults were doing their thing. We had grandma and grandpa's house and big family event, big family. And my grandmother was like the center of the family, like the almost, the core that kept everybody in line, but also was very loving and understanding. And she was it. And when she passed away, I remember, I got a call from, well, it wasn't even a call. My little sister told me, like, you should probably get to your grandmother's house. We're all going over there. It doesn't look too good. So we all went over there. And I remember spending the night. And the whole family just stayed at my grandma's house. And my grandmother was sick in her bed, kind of just not good. Went in there and talked to her. And I remember her just eventually coming into like consciousness and telling me like almost to like leave, because I don't think she wanted me to see her like that. But, she passed away, and that just changed the entire energy of the family after that. Like nothing was the same and hasn't been. And for years after that, it took a while to heal because everybody heals on their own, right? My mom, her that was their mom, so they had to heal in their way. But as my grandmother, I had to heal in my way. Likewise for all my cousins and sisters and stuff. We all deal with loss and nobody's the same, I don't think, at all. And took me a long time to get over that, and then I did, and I still, but you recover from it, but you don't. It's a change that's inevitable, right? You can't go. And then once we had family events at Grandpa's house now, which we do, we just had Christmas there. Because my grandfather's still ticking. He's gonna be 90 years old here in a couple weeks. And it's still not the same, right? It's there, but now you have to adapt to the new thing. And just like anything, death allows you to adapt. Whether you lose a family member, a celebrity that had nothing to do with your life, it's like, what do you fear the loss of? I think it's different when people see well-known people and they react to, like, if they're killed tragically. It's I don't know. I don't know how people react to it. People take it like, oh my God. Like, I don't know. I've been always trying to figure out, is it the human aspect that knows that somebody passed away, or is it a selfish aspect that you can't get what you need from that person to fulfill your life, as if that person is doing something for you? Like Kobe Bryant playing basketball, like people who loved and hated him. It's like, do they attach it, or are they just trying to be human about it? I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking questions. I don't know. And since I don't have a personal connection with the guy, other than the tragedy itself, I mean, it's like I don't have the same connection as I did like when my grandmother died, because it was my family. This is my grandmother. That's my blood. That it's different. But I've always wondered, why can't we have that same feeling towards someone I don't know? I mean, I do, in a sense, like there's sympathies and condolences and all that crap, but there's never, for me, I've never had unless I knew you. And it didn't even know you. It just depends on what you did to affect my life. Meaning, like I said, my cousin Bonnie has a permanent mark in my memory, because I barely knew her. I only had an interaction with her for a couple of hours in my life, but yet had an impact on how I remember her, being very kind, and then taken away at age 17 in a car accident, you know? Kind of the same thing with Kobe Bryant's daughter, where, she's 13, right? Barely, don't even know what life is like yet. It's still fresh. Hell, I'm 35 and I'm just trying to figure it out. I don't even figure it out. I'm just like, oof. But after some young adult decisions, you kind of see how life is in this world. It's pretty around and round. But and death is a wake up call for us all, is it not? It reminds us of what? Our own demise. And that scares a lot of people, to think about their own death, because a lot of people fear it. So I think it's the fear that they really don't know what's going to happen. Like it's just lights out, and then there's the arguments. Like I had a conversation with my friend the other week. We were talking about, where do you go when you die? I go, I hope somewhere. But you need to believe it. I'm like, I can't, I don't know. I mean, I hope. I'm like, either, there's the arguments, like you transcend your energy into something else, you come back as a ficus, or you just nothing, and you're just non-existent. Like I don't remember coming into existence, so maybe I won't remember going out of existence. You know what I mean? I don't know. Scary, right? It's fun that nobody. Oh my God! I just want to watch my Netflix and not think about this, man. But you should think about it, because it really puts things into perspective in your life, that you will honestly, when you think about your own death, and then when death does happen in your life, you lose somebody or tragedy happens with us, whatever, you really start to think about what is truly important, and who's important, and what's important in life. And when you start to really let that settle, you realize how much nonsense is around us all the time that we worry about for no reason, and to just let it go. Who cares? And just leave it be. And there's a certain peace and calmness to it, that once you just accept your own mortality, I don't care about the stuff. The rest of it is just inconveniences to my time and day, which I don't waste time on. I don't waste time on dumb shit today. And I have a hard stance with people who try to get me to do dumb shit. I go, no. No. There's nothing. No. And, but that's me. You can do it. You just have to practice doing it. And continue the practice through your life. And that's all you got to do. We just keep practicing, not giving a shit about dumb stuff, and stop giving into fluffy things and being distracted from reality. Because, I kind of like when these things happen because it is a reality check for everyone around those people, as like, hey, stop fucking around and stop with the nonsense of just anything. Death will do that to you. Death will do that to you. Just, at least it does for me, that's why even my own death, I got close a couple times in my own life, and it just makes you go, I don't care about what people tell me I should care about. You care about the climate? I don't care. I've kind of realized that the natural order of the world will have its way, and we've been here longer than we think, and we'll probably be here forever. Maybe one day we do go extinct, but whatever. So be it. Enjoy yourself while you're here, guy. Like, what's his name? Old comedian Bill Hicks. He was like, it's just a ride. It's just a ride. Enjoy it. I think so. I think we're all one on some level, but we can't really connect it. But sometimes death brings you together. Maybe, or it just happens. There's that. It just happens. I don't know. I always say I don't know. It drives people nuts when you don't have a definitive answer or belief on something. And I can't give you a definitive answer and belief because it doesn't flow through me as truth. It's not, and I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear just so you can feel comfortable. I don't know. That's why I love talking about stuff like this. I like hearing people's sides of it. I like seeing why you feel the way you do, where you come from, why you believe what you believe. And that's why I like to talk to people of all different walks of life, other than just the Western world. Talk to somebody in India, guys. They don't think like we do about anything. Egypt had a different way of death than we do. It's like, it's okay. So I don't know. But what does fascinate me is the people, the funerals and stuff that I've gone to in the last couple of years, where these people, I didn't really know them on a personal level very well, but I knew enough to where the things that they shared with me were a deeper connection, and I owed them enough to go pay my respects for their passing in memory. And I can't put it into words. It's like it's a respect in a way, and an honor, and an understanding that unless you've been there, you don't know, right? So I have a love and an understanding for certain things that people do that I get that they struggle with. And when I remember that and I try to apply it to regular people or just everyone else, then I look at people with a lot of love, and I don't look at people with disdain, disgust, and just, and judgment. I look at people with, it's just another human being on this planet trying to figure it out. And they got a family. They're just like to hang out, watch a game, hang out, whatever they want to do. So, death and the reality check. Always remember you're going to die. No matter how healthy you eat today, no matter what your belief system is, no matter who you pray to, you're going to die. So, when you know that and stop beating around the bush and accept your own mortality, I have found the greatest calmness of the fact that I just don't worry. We're going to take this away from you. Okay, go ahead. There are worse things than death. There really are. Death is easy. But there are worse things when you're alive to deal with. I know, I've experienced things like that. So death doesn't scare me. Well, it's like, there is something after that. I'm like, I kind of welcome it. See what happens. Maybe after a period of time, we'll see what the next life is, if there is one. If not, you're just out of existence. So do you think I really care about my nest egg? I don't. So yeah, a little bit of a more of a, it's not a morbid thing. It's just like some people just don't talk about this stuff. Like they're almost afraid to talk about their fear of dying, which is what it is. It is the fear of dying, and nobody wants to admit, like, oh my god, but if I just put the cream on my face and moisturize, I'm gonna last a little bit longer. Maybe. Or you get blown up in a helicopter the next day, or a car crash. You know what I mean? Or you fall down a fucking flight of stairs. Who knows? It's one of those things where you don't know, and when people have a hard time letting go of they don't know, like they have, if they only knew, they'd be okay. And I don't think that at all anymore. Like, would you really want to know? Would you really want to know when and how where you were gonna die? Wouldn't that create more fear if you had that knowledge, right? Like, oh, it's almost February 1st. I'm in the park where they said it was gonna happen. Like, it seems like it would just create more fear. Since you already fear it, now you know. I mean, I think you would fear it more. I believe you would fear it more for sure. I believe it. You would fear it way more because then as the time approached, you would it be in the back of your head and like, uh-oh. It's like those old tales of like, the crossroads devil bargaining thing where you get like 10 years, 10 years and I come collecting your soul. And then that date is 10 years. You can do whatever you want in that 10 years. But then when that date comes, it's over. Like you're fucking gone. And then all of a sudden, you go from 10 years down to 5, down to 1, down to a month, down to the next day. I mean, I think that creates a lot more fear than it would comfort. Right? Isn't there a strange sense of calmness and serenity in not knowing and just taking the day for what it is and just letting yourself be and enjoying the people and the places and the stuff around you and taking it all with a attitude of gratitude, if you will? Just be grateful for everything that is and not ungrateful for everything that is not, you know? So, um, yeah, that's all I got. Uh, you know what? My condolences to the Bryant family and what they're going through because that's just like I said. I know my first funeral of life was a family member killed in a tragic accident like that. So it's I may have been really young, but I get it, and that's hard because you're laughing and talking and texting and calling and everything's fine. And the next day that person's not there, man. It's fucking. That's why anybody who's in my path today, who I actually get to interact with, that I spend time with, I don't treat it as like the last time we're ever gonna see each other. I treat it as just I value the now with them because it's remarkable and it's an honor and a privilege to share that with those people. These people in my life that have come and have crossed paths over time and are still there. And see them grow in life it's good. And to be aware of that makes me very grateful, and it really centers me into today. So I like to reflect on tragedy like this because what my first thoughts are like, but when I get to my more human side, it just really makes me remember. I go, one day that'll be me. I mean, God forbid, in a helicopter crash or anything else, but one day I'll be dead, and that's fine. And one day, everybody around me, if I do live, and if I live long enough, it gets even harder because the longer you live, the older you get, the more people just start to die naturally. You know, old age, disease, whatever, it's going to happen. And you just learn to live with it and just stop bitch moaning and complaining about life because it's so good right now. And you just have to take a moment, look around, soak it in, and it's great. And don't take it for granted. That's why, anger is a vicious thing. It's not good to go to bed angry or resentful at somebody in your life because, you don't know if you're going to have time to heal that relationship. You don't know. And you don't want to know in case that happens. So I am grateful to do this live stream here today and have fun and talk because this talking actually helps keep me calm and centered and a better person throughout my life for everybody else who's in it. Because I do this and I love it and I'll never stop. One person watching, thank you so much. Sometimes two, three, even up to 5 or 6, whatever. It's awesome. So always remember, don't take yourself too seriously and know that one day, the people in your life may not be there tomorrow. So don't take them for granted today because you will miss them and you will always beat yourself up the next day for whatever reason you didn't. And that's no good. So this is all just suggestions and things that I've learned in my short time on this earth. But I've packed in a lot of life in 35 years, man. I lived crazy. This is why I think wisdom comes with age, because then you have experience and everybody gets kind of tossed in the fire and you get to decide whether you want the fire to burn you or you get to walk away from it. At least I have. I mean, I don't speak for yourself, but don't take yourself too seriously. Everybody have a wonderful day.